fans one and all to another episode, I guess. This is not a stream, it's a special event. We don't do these that often. But my name is RockinMrMagic. I am your host of the original Jeek Podcast. And this is a special, I guess, edition of the show. It'll be available in audio and video on YouTube afterwards. But we are here tonight with a panel of my former guests and friends to discuss, again, review and discuss Netflix's Supacell. I had 4 people scheduled. All 4 said they could make it. Only 3 are here right now. Hopefully number 4, author Greg Burnham will be able to join us. But give the man some grace if you were expecting to see him. He is out here running the Comic-Con circuit. He's currently at DreamCon, so he's probably a little tired. But who is with me is important. Starting because I'm old school. I always go ladies first. I'm going to start to my bottom here is the wonderful, my Michigan sister representing our home state, the lovely Ivo Jackson.
Hello. Oh, you want me to introduce myself? Or are you just doing all the introductions?
I'm just doing all the intros.
Then I will.
To her right on the screen is the owner of E616 Consulting, former guest of the original Jeek Podcast. She has her own show, which I also recommend y'all check out. She is the enigmatic one and only Liz Gilliam.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
Lastly, my man 100 Grand. He is the owner of Spears. What is it? Oh, my bad. Now I forget the name. My brother's guy. Hey, I'm sorry. Spears Omega Travels. Hashtag Mutants. Hashtag Excelsior. Fly, travel with the best. My man, the one and only Jewel Spears.
Speaking of Michigan, go blue.
That's right. College football's a month away, and we coming back for that natty, baby.
We got 2 gymnasts in the all-around finals, so
yeah.
What are you talking about?
We got Wolverines everywhere.
The leaders and best. It is
That's right. Hail. And lastly, shout out to everyone in chat right now. We got Ziggles B getting live right now, throwing the comments out there. So glad to have you and everyone else currently on chat. So we're going to get it on and popping here since we waited a couple minutes to start before, just to see if Greg will be able to jump on. Supacell. If you don't know, those in chat, Supacell is a show on Netflix. It was created, written, developed by Bratman, as he's colloquially known. His name is Andre Omubolu. And I'm sorry, not Andre, Andrew Omubolu. Again, showrunner, creator, writer, lead director. And 3 episodes of the 6-episode series were directed by Zambia-born Sebastian Henry Thiel. This show stars Tosin Cole, Adeleo Adedayo, Nadine Mills, Eric Kofi Abrefa, Calvin Demba, Josh Tedeku, and Reja Oyo, Giacomo Mancini, Michael, I'm guessing it's Salami, and Travis J. And lastly, rapper Getz, whose real name I do not recall. So that rounds out the cast of this show. It's a British show that focuses on the collection of 5 South Londoners who deal with their emerging superpowers and how their lives ultimately lead them to interact with each other. To start the show here, we are going to do ratings, non-spoiler ratings, before we get into the spoiler part of the show. So if you are on this stream and you haven't seen the show, one, thank you for being here, but I don't know why you're here, because we going to talk about the show. So if you're here and you ain't seen the show, recommend watching it first. This show again will be on YouTube. You can come back to it. It'll also be on audio on our podcast. You can come back to it. If you've seen the show, awesome. This is exactly why we're glad you're here. I'm going to start with Jewel. Jewel, give me your 1 to 5 rating of Supercell and a brief couple sentences as far as to why.
You know this usually takes much more deliberation.
Well, again, this is just a brief pre-spoiler. We're going to deliberate in a bit.
All right. On a 1 to 5, I would give this. It would be between a 4.4 and a 4.6 range.
So a 4.5. That's in between.
I would say around a 4.5.
Okay.
It was damn good, very compelling, and it was very much able to. The story was very much able to hold you, and it was very well executed. Not a perfect show, but I would consider it all around 5.
All right. Well said. Okay. Let's go to Liz.
1 to 5 doesn't give a lot of room for nuance.
That's why people go with the points.
But geez, 1 to 5.
Because we got 5 on it. I mean, that's what it's about now.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna have to go with a 4.3.
Okay.
4.3.
And any elucidation to that 4.3?
Yeah. I loved it, and I didn't know what to expect going in.
Okay.
Some of it I could telegraph, some of it I was like this, but I think this is where it's going. I think this is what might happen. It doesn't get a full 5 because I needed a little bit more fleshing out of some of the characters. But I'm hopeful that we get that in season 2, and then, it'll bring up the rear. I was pleased with the show. We'll watch again. Absolutely. And we kind of forced ourselves to go through it slowly, to take it 1 episode a day. And that was a chore because we wanted to keep going, but we wanted to make sure we had enough show to watch. So it was very good. It was engaging. Love the representation of, and we'll talk about everything. But 4.2. We'll get into the rest.
Okay. Okay. Lastly, Ivo, what would you rank out of 5?
Since we can only rate 1 to 5, I'm going to round mine up to a full 4.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. It was a fun watch. The fine arts nerd in me was irritated at times with certain aspects of it. It was executed very well, which is why it was a fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
There was just more that could be right with it. It was, it was not as refined as I wanted it to be and as I expected it to be. But it was enjoyable. It was good. And I do look forward to season 2.
Awesome. Okay. That's I appreciate your insight on the fine arts portion. Tying to that, let's guess the IMDb rating for Supercell. Go ahead.
What about your rating? What are you rating?
My rating?
Yeah.
See, now that hurts because that tells me y'all ain't listened to the review I did last week. When I reviewed the show. And I gave my thoughts, and it was just a great segue to tell the people that I was going to say to the people, you're not going to hear a whole lot of personal opinion out of me because I have reviewed the show, and you can listen to it right now if you wanted to. But since we are down a panel member, I will contribute a little bit more than I plan to. So I too did not give this a 5. I gave it a 4 or maybe like a 4.5, somewhere between 4 and 4.5. I don't remember the exact number. I'd have to look at my notes. It was really good. It had a couple issues. That one that you, Liz, mentioned when we were chatting offline there. So I would definitely. I mean, I rewatched it because I had such a fun time with it. There was so much great about it that I really liked. There were things that were just really refreshing, and for someone like myself who watches probably a considerable amount more British television than the average American. I really enjoyed what I saw. I thought there were things that were typical but not typical that were present. I thought the tone, I thought the presentation was excellent, and I thought for Ratman being a pretty much he's a nobody here in the United States. For him, kind of being a new exposure to the American market, or to the world market, being on Netflix, I think he did a fantastic job as showrunner, writer, and director of half of the season. So that's where I am. So just between 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah, Zigglesby said British television is great. I concur. There's a lot of great British television out there. Absolutely. So let's guess the IMDb rating. We'll say Ivo turned her camera on. Oh, no, she's back. There she is. Ivo, guess the IMDb rating, and they go to 10. So there's more room, more space to play with, unlike a measly 5 rating.
So, guess the IMDb rating. Factoring in for the player hating of white folks who think all sci-fi is supposed to be about them. 7.5.
Okay. Liz?
I was definitely thinking something like 7.8.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. Yeah.
Okay. Jewel?
8.3.
8.3. Okay. Well, Ivo would be the winner as the closest. It's currently a 7 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I'm on The Price is Right.
Come on, Tim. Starting with Jewel, guess the Rotten Tomatoes rating.
Now you am out. You am out, bro. Now, how many reviews? How many reviews are there?
Oh, you know what? I didn't put the number of reviews down.
That matters.
It does matter. I can pull it up though. Let me see here.
And you're going critics, not audience.
We're doing the average tomato meter.
Yeah, but critics, not audience, because there's 2 meters.
Yeah, there's the audience and the critics. So yeah, I'm talking the tomato score, which is the critics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many? I hate this website.
They give you so many reasons.
They really do.
I mean, I would look it up, but that would kind of defeat the purpose.
No, I'm looking right at it. It's not even telling me, which is ridiculous.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's not showing me. I don't know why. That's weird.
It's been out for a minute, so there's probably a lot of it because
well, it's been out for actually 1 month and 1 day. So
really, that's it.
Yeah, 1 month, 1 day.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And because I hadn't even heard about the song till the show until our X-Men 97, and y'all brought it up. I'm like, what? And I jumped on after that, and that time flew by. I will give it, after all this time, it's probably around a 94.
94?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Liz?
Considering Rotten Tomatoes and, like Ivo said, really giving space for the haters, I would say, but they've been saying really good things about it, so I would say 90, flat 90.
Flat 90. Okay. And Ivo.
$1. No, I'm just playing. No, 82%.
82%.
I believe the haters showed up to hate.
Yeah.
82%.
Okay. Well, Jewel wins this round. Currently, the average tomato meter is 100%.
Wow. Yay.
Because the haters really don't play into the critic score. It was the audience score.
I
The
see.
haters factor in the critic score because they're
Okay.
certified critics. You don't really get that.
Right. Now, the audience score currently stands at 73%,
Mhm.
which is still very, very respectable.
It's fresh.
Yes, it is
It is
fresh.
fresh.
Not certified fresh, like that means anything, but it is fresh. Fresh and enjoyable. Okay, so those on chat, to those who joined while we were talking earlier, Hobie Tobines, Rue's mom, thank you for joining. We're so glad to have you with us. We are now entering the spoiler zone area. You've heard the danger zone. This is the spoiler zone. I'm not going to sing like Kenny Loggins because I actually have soul and rhythm. So we are.
Where's the Kenny Loggins shade coming from?
You know what? I just.
How do you get in there?
I don't know. I can't lie. The
You will not disrespect the greatest opening to any movie ever made in Top Gun.
see that's something you and I disagree on because I just am not a Top Gun
He
fan.
sang with Thundercat, man.
Okay, I'll give him. You know what? I'll say this: Kenny Loggins' guest appearance on Archer was really fun. So, but that song from Rocky IV was like, oh, are you kidding me? That was so bad. Yeah, the training montage song that was Kenny Loggins.
No one.
I was pretty sure it was. You
Nope.
sure?
No. Kenny Loggins was not. Trust me. Rocky IV is the next great Broadway musical. And Kenny Loggins was not. Rocky IV was like five. Rocky IV was 5 musical montages and 2 fights. It's the entire movie.
Yes, it was.
And Kenny Loggins ain't in that. Trust me.
I could have swore that was a Kenny Loggins song.
Kenny Loggins was Footloose, Top Gun, and Caddyshack. With a dancing squirrel, a beaver, squirrel, whatever the hell it was.
Okay, I am really intrigued at how
Double or Nothing from Rocky IV, Gladys Knight and Kenny Loggins.
There was no double. It may have been on the soundtrack. It didn't make the movie.
So, are you gonna go
Okay.
on Jeopardy or something, Jewel?
Why we gotta get in my business?
Rue's mom knows what I'm talking about. Rue's mom in the chat said Double or Nothing. She knew.
And Rocky, what was the all right? That'll be another.
I think it was the
That's a whole
training
nother-
montage
that's
when
another
he's
review and discuss.
when
Now I
he's
wanna
in
do all of
when he's
the Rocky,
doing the
yes.
push-ups with the cart and all that, and he's crushing pictures with his hand to look angry when he's training for the fight with
That was Hearts on Fire.
Yeah, it's been so long since I watched that movie. All right, I ain't going front. I don't remember.
Yeah, Hearts on Fire is a terrible song, though.
Okay, that's probably why. All right, I apologize to Kenny Loggins. Kenny, I know you ain't gonna see this, but if somebody tags you that I was dissing you, I'm sorry. I really did enjoy your appearance on Archer. Danger Zone is catchy, even though I don't like the movie. It's it's catchy. It's catchy. I'm not a Top Gun fan. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't dig it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see your ass on Facebook.
Okay, come for it. Come for it. Come for it. I'm right here.
You
I'm
know,
6 foot 395. Come with it. Okay. Now that I've droned on about Kenny Loggins, we are going back to Supacell. We're going back to London here. So, what we need here. Oh, thank you. Getting food delivery here.
Now.
It's actually it's TikTok ramen, which is absolutely delicious and salty, and not going to help my weight loss journey. Um, no, I don't think Zigglesby. I don't think Kenny Loggins is going to show up to defend himself, but he's got 3 people who've already been defending him against me anyway. That's okay. Again, I'm used to being the negative one. It's all right. Yes, it could be TikTok ramen. My daughter found it on saw the recipe, and then my wife prepared it, and it's salty deliciousness. It's like extra soy on ramen without the broth. Yeah, it slams. All right, let me get back. Let me wrangle things up. Get focused here. So we are going to start here. I want to talk about the setting. The setting is South London. Now, none of us here are British, so I'm not going to pretend like any of us are experts on Black British culture. However, as Black people, I would like to focus on the universal aspects of the experience that we do see in the show. So, I want to start with the things that are there that pretty much apply to us all, and that is the portrayal that we've got. So I want to start with the youngest person in the cast they're portrayed, and that's Taser. So the Taser storyline, for those still here and watching, very centered around London gang activity. How do we feel about, especially for those of us who may have seen other similar British programming, how did we feel about Taser and his storyline?
I can't compare it to other British programming, but as soon as I saw him, I was just like, oh, so we're doing a Great Value Franklin from Snowfall then. Okay, I know where this is going. And that's exactly where it went. Which was a little disappointing, but the pop culture media nerd in me said, well done, Ratman. That was smart. Let the Americans know up front what they're getting into.
Okay. That's more than fair. Liz, why don't you go next?
So I didn't watch Snowfall. I haven't seen it. So I don't have that frame of reference.
Okay.
Taser was my favorite, but I was watching this with my son. I saw my son in him. I saw a little Black boy who was angry. He had a lot of anger. He was mad. And the more we learned about him, the more we understood why he was so mad. And he was at his heart a good kid who was taking care of his grandma, who was mad that his mom left. He had a lot. And then to see who his mom was, and then to take it all the way back, it was there. There was a lot going on. And then I will say, like I said, I haven't seen Snowfall, but when Tiny got shot, I was like, this is giving hardball. I don't want another G baby. I don't want another G baby.
He kind of looked like G baby too.
I don't want that to happen. So, but I really appreciated Taser's story a lot, and I think that they did really well with it. I was curious though about how he seemed to gain control of his power so quickly. And I'm sure we'll get to that, but I was like, wait, whoa. So, but yeah, I enjoyed Taser's storyline very, very much.
Excellent. And Jewel?
He very much figured out within the time frame of the show. It was like, okay, one day he didn't know anything about it, and like the next day, I've been practicing. That was very rushed. I didn't like that, but okay, it happens. Not everyone has to, when it comes to these types of shows, has to go through the same exact learning curve and discovery. That was fine. I appreciated his story. For me, this was a recurring theme with all of the characters and the locale in general, how it very much immersed you into that culture and into that world. It felt real. It felt lived in. It didn't feel like this was a setup in a movie. I very much felt like the Taser storyline with the gangs and the way they operated and how they went about everything was almost like watching a documentary. Like, okay, this is about this. He was that classic character who you empathize with him because you understand why. Okay, here's why you are the way you are. I get it. And damn, I didn't need to have another kid. I need to see another one of us get shot. That hurt.
Yeah.
But overall, and it's funny when you mentioned favorite character, because if you were to ask me that question, damn, I really had to think about it. But he would certainly be up there. I appreciated that portrayal and the layers that they gave him.
Yes.
Where it was kind of like not it was very much the usual that you see, like, oh, okay, here's why you're angry, here's what you lost, and then you became a product of that environment. But they portrayed the environment so well that it's just like, okay, well, yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen to you, given to where you are. So yeah, Taser was on point.
I actually have a little pushback. I disagree that his mastering of his powers was rushed.
Okay.
I found that it made sense because he had a criminal mindset and a lot of confidence. As soon as he realized he could turn invisible, he was like, oh, heck, and just started working on it. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work, but he was focused on getting that thing to work because he knew what he could do with it. He wasn't rejecting the gift like everybody else.
Okay, yeah.
He wanted it. He wanted to put it to good use, and good use for him, was doing dirt.
Slicing and dicing.
That mindset drove him to master things quicker.
That makes sense.
And the confidence, too, I think, gave him the ability to tune in more deeply, more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Ivo, that's a fantastic point. Because it reminds me of something I was talking about recently in regards to American athletes nowadays, with like our Olympic team not being as performing as well, almost losing to South Sudan and almost losing to Serbia in the prelims. How today's athletes are not as hardened because they don't come from the rough environments as much as they used to. They come up with in two-parent families. A lot of them are sons of a former NBA player, so they've lived a softer life. Taser is not one of those people who lived a softer life.
Mm-hmm.
And his embracing and trying to master the power, and even though it's off screen, makes sense because he needs it out of desperation a bit more than Michael does, a bit more than even
Rodney would kind of be in that same boat though.
Right, but Rodney's motivation. But Rodney's motivation.
I mean, with this, and you saw what he did with it.
Right, but his motivation isn't more as much a survival. It's important, but Teo's dealing with Taser/Teo. He's dealing with more life and death, where Rodney is, big problems, but just not as bad. If Rodney wanted to, he could go off and do whatever and ignore his situation. Where Andre Taser, theirs is more of, this has to happen now, which I think is why Andre, to me, Andre got the least amount of time when it came to showing mastery, because that brother was strong one day and he immediately is like, all right, I'm gonna go pull out safes out of walls.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
because I got something to say about all of them.
Especially
Andre really ain't getting much screen time. So I personally, I think because of the fact that Ratman only had 6 episodes to work with, focusing on Michael being the main character, I think was a great choice to show him working through his powers and showing their manifestation. And then you can just assume in the background, these other people are outside of Sabrina. They're all out there trying to figure out how to control this, keep it from being random. and be smart about it.
Right.
Well, they do show the training and experimenting montages, at least for Andre.
They show the one. They show the one, and they show a little bit for Rodney, running around the room. But mostly the focus on those was more kind of like showing off, because Rod did it for Spud, and then Andre called his homie over to the junkyard. But the true testing back and forth, the trials of it, was Michael in the shower. All of a sudden, he blips into the living room. Him trying to really figure it out how he can control this, because he's got the most on his mind.
Plus, you had to spend more time with Michael and his powers because his power set was the most complex.
Right.
Yeah.
He could do more things. Everyone else was pretty basic.
Right. We have the Hulk,
a speedster.
We have a Thing. We have a speedster. We have an invisible woman, essentially. Because if they give her force fields, she's the invisible woman. Because pretty much everything she does is the same. And then we've got an invisible man.
We got a speedster.
Well, yeah, we have a speedster. Yeah, we have a speedster, and we've
Flash,
got Rod, who
can
who's a
heal
speedster.
like the Flash.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, and they even name dropped it. Like he's like, oh, you like the Flash, so he's Flash, and then we have an invisible guy. Yes,
on the other team,
right. So it's like, okay, and then Michael, who we have, who's I think his power set. I think his power set's going to grow. I think all their power sets are going to grow.
He's very much OP already. If there was any quote unquote Omega level characters right now,
it's Michael. Yes, absolutely. And he seemed to, So we'll go into that more.
Such a mishmash of every messianic hero, sci-fi character. Like, he's Professor X with the matrix of leadership in his chest.
Also, I think switching to Michael here. I really enjoyed one. I liked Tosin Cole a lot from his portrayal in Doctor Who. I thought he did excellent for those. I think it was 1 or 2 seasons of Doctor Who he did with I forget her name now. But the woman from the murder show from Broadchurch. Why am I forgetting her name? I don't know. Jodie Whittaker, the Jodie Whittaker version of Doctor Who. I thought Tosin Cole was excellent in that, and I thought he was fantastic in this role.
Absolutely,
he absolutely owned the role. He was convincing and believable in his moments of strength, his moments of concern, his moments of weakness, desperation. Tosin Cole, he should get an Emmy nomination, in my opinion, for how well he did in this role. He absolutely owned it. Outside of what we've already said right now, what jumped out to you about Michael? The character of Michael and what he did throughout this series. I'll start with Liz because she's got her hand on. She's got that.
Well, I had to think about it. I'm thinking of how you talked about his portrayal of Michael, and I was thinking how appropriate it is that the eyes are what changed in this show, because he told so much with his eyes. He did so much with his eyes that looking at them as an indicator of when powers are going to, show up or not was really a solid choice. I loved his portrayal as Michael because there were some times when I found myself frustrated with him. Like, come on, dude, just do something. And then it made me sit back and think, well, shit, what would I do if I was in that situation? Like, he did it really well. He was not someone who, to take it back to the first Avenger. Steve was injected, was immediately like twice as big, and was running down the street. And I've even been like, come on, dude, how you know how to work as twice a body twice that. So how do you know how to run and jump and all this other stuff? Michael really was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how I got home with a bullet in my hand, but at least I'm not dead. Like he was really, you could see how freaked out he was by all of this. So I really liked his portrayal, and he was a solid anchor for the show. I really appreciated them using him as anchor.
Absolutely. Ivo, you're nodding in assent.
Yeah, I agree. His boyish charm and quiet strength made him really likable as a character. He was perfectly fit to both inspire and annoy me at the right times. Because when it was time to annoy me, he did.
He had it. He was good. He had it.
Tired. Just
so what?
Stop and think and be like, well, he is carrying quite a bit. And if I was Dion, besides wanting a better wig,
oh my God, the wig!
I was so frustrated.
Why?
Why do I see the lace? Why?
I don't know. It wasn't like a Tyler Perry wig. It was
It wasn't a Tyler Perry wig, but
it was close. It was
we
close.
were in
It was
the
pretty
land
bad.
of YouTube DIY, and where is hair and makeup? That's all. I
was like, if they're going for the every woman, I'm going to work because I did my own hair this morning. They got it. They was going for that. They got it. But I was not pleased.
They were not. Yeah, they were not going for TV show presentation at all. They were very much going for Monday morning at the water cooler.
Yes.
Okay.
So what about Michael annoyed you?
Ooh, come on, say it. Please say it.
His inability to come up with better lies or reasons or anything.
Somebody please clip that. Somebody please clip that. A woman just said she was annoyed because the man couldn't come up with better lies. Somebody please.
Like, if you don't lie, put some effort into it.
Please.
Do something. Don't just stand there with the eyes like, I wish I could tell you, but I'm not.
It was pretty bad. He looks on his phone. He's like, oh yeah, I'm texting somebody. I'm texting a homeboy.
By the way, come on,
She's like, yeah. Can't he wait? Like, yeah, I gotta go see homeboy on the phone.
A little comic relief. A little okay. What had happened was, like something. He just spazzed out and then ran away. Bruh.
Literally.
And then you gonna get killed because she left you because you standing here looking crazy. That was frustrating.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit here. Okay, since you mentioned Dion's unfortunately untimely death, is it just me, or is the trope of the woman doesn't listen to the man and therefore gets killed just a little bit overdone?
I didn't think that was a fair characterization of her because she was trying to leave.
But she had multiple opportunities.
She had multiple opportunities, and then when we did lose her, she was trying to leave, but then wasn't it Crazy who got like slung into her car?
No, so Crazy threw Taser into the car,
right?
And then he went after Taser. She got out the car and started hitting on Crazy like it was going to do something. And then she got back in the car and more stuff was going on. And so like when she got back in the car, I'm like, why haven't you left yet?
Dion aggravated me the entire show, so I'm not the one to
to me it was not as bad as like Jason Bourne's girl, where she's like, how do you know they're chasing us because your cover's blown? And then the bullet goes through her head. And I was like, well, yeah, that's how we know. Like that. Both those first two movies, she kept trying to convince the expert that he didn't know what he was talking about. That's a trope that I see in movies where the woman doesn't listen to the man and then she gets shot. I'm tired of seeing that trope because to me it just portrays this thing that in a relationship, the woman doesn't listen to any counsel outside of her own.
Mhm.
It's
That was something about this to me.
yeah, that was
I'm
just
sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
no, it's fine because like that just if you're gonna, I thought they could have killed her off in a better way than using that recycled trope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that irritated me. Jewel, I'm not gonna forget to ask your thoughts on Michael. What did you think about Michael?
So now that I've had time to marinate, I would say that Michael was my favorite character. The brother's ability to emote and his sincerity. He was such a sincere character in everything that he did. Like Michael was just a genuine good dude.
Yeah.
And how he experienced and lived through everything, it was very sincere and it was genuine. It was like, okay, yeah, that's how one would react. That's how you would be. That's how you would do it. And he was also by far the most selfless character throughout.
Absolutely.
And he was on a mission. What annoyed me about him the most, and it's funny when you mentioned that trope about her not listening to him. There were so many points in time where I was literally saying to the TV, all right, dog, tell her. Just tell her.
Just
Dude,
tell
why
her.
aren't you just telling her? Because she already knows and understands the fact that you do have these powers. The hard part is over.
And not just that he has the powers. She believes him and believes that he actually talked to himself in the future.
She
Yes. So why not just
tell her?
Just tell her.
Would you have ended up saving her life? We don't know. That's time travel. Who knows?
Right.
Because by doing what he did, it got her killed sooner.
Right.
But you would be in a better position to protect her if you would just tell her, look, here's what I saw. You dead. And here's what I'm trying to prevent. That way she wouldn't have, like when you say, okay, she wasn't listening to him. Listening to what? Tell her the whole story and maybe she'll listen to you. That's what pissed me off about him. But as a character, I was very good with him. Great. But those little things where it's just like, all right, why aren't you just, what are we doing? And he's running out, and he's literally running out the door. Like, what are you doing?
So I'm going to play devil's advocate on that point as well, just because I think that ties in perfectly with the portrayal. Because if there is a placeholder character for especially the male viewer, the black male viewer, to put himself into the story, it's Michael. We have a hardworking brother who is working a job that's below his potential, doing his best to start a life with the woman he loves, and he's selfless, he's kind, he takes care of his moms, him and his best friend have a great relationship. Like, dude is a black Norman Rockwell painting. Like, he's got every bit. But he has to have some negatives, and the negative part is that selflessness that he has is preventing him from being as upfront as he should be. Mm-hmm. Part of me at first had the same things as like, and I'm thinking, okay, well, how would I react? And he doesn't have like a brother who reads a lot of comic books, so he may not have the same thinking of, oh my goodness, I've got powers. How should I handle this? Because his frame of mind was very much in, how do I deal with this insanity that just came into my life where I ain't got money. I ain't got a lot of money, but I'm trying to get my woman nice things and buying the car. I'm trying to put my mom into this treatment facility for her sickle cell. And I'm not sure, the confidence is low. Mm-hmm. So now he adds this additional wrinkle. It makes sense that he would waver the way he's been wavering because he's scared to lose his mom. Now he's scared to lose his girl that he's trying to build a life with. So I think the fact that it annoyed you is this kudos to the portrayal, because I understand where the character is coming from in his waffling back and forth to tell her, not tell her, tell her, not tell her. And I think it was great writing on Ratman's part to have the other characters like Rodney be like, dude, did you tell her yet? Like, oh, she don't know. Like, you need to tell her. And he's talking to him, like he's his best friend, and they just met. Like, bro, you need to tell her. So I think Tosin just did a fantastic job in encapsulating everything that character is. I want to tie in from Michael into Michael and Dion's relationship. I wasn't initially going to go here, but I think it's an appropriate time. One of the themes of this show that I feel was excellently done, that all of us can talk about, is the positive Black love that we saw within this show. Obviously highlighted by Dion and Michael, but also on the lower levels between Andre and his son AJ. Also Michael and his best friend, whose name I'm forgetting, the owner of the Onyx Bar. Taser and his crew. Also Taser and Crazy. Shar and Sabrina. And then Rodney and Spud. And then also Andre and his best friend, who kept hooking him up with jobs.
He was not a friend.
You didn't think
I'm sorry. Go on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We will come back to that. We're going to talk about Andre. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I felt that the love shown, apparently outside of Andre's friend, I thought the love portrayed was excellent across different relationship dynamics. Except the one I'm going to have Liz talk about now, since she vehemently disagrees with Andre's friend. How did you feel just about
talking about the patriarchal hero complex that Michael had, but let's go back to what she was talking about.
See, I wouldn't say he had a hero complex, because my man was like, stop looking to me for answers, fam. He
didn't want to be anybody's hero but Dion's. He's like,
I said a patriarchal hero.
I just want my girl to.
That is exactly it. He wanted to be nobody's hero but Dion's. He was like, bro,
I just want my girl to.
Patriarchal hero complex annoyed me.
Run with that. What do you mean?
Yeah, say more.
That's the reason he wouldn't tell her. He was trying to protect her from the agony or whatever he expected for her to, however she was going to react.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of giving her the confidence and space to deal with this, he had to protect her from it and assume she could not handle it. That's where all of this came from. That's what's so annoying. Now, Michael, other than this, it's like perfect, but he can't be perfect.
Well,
so
that's true.
Perfect, except this hero complex leans patriarchal, and it ends up getting this woman killed.
Is it all a hero complex though? Or think about, he's a delivery driver for their version of Amazon. He's not a doctor used to giving with bedside manner, used to giving bad news like that. That is not something average. That's not something the average person can give.
That she couldn't handle it, and he could, and he had to carry it for her. And she could not help him carry that in any way. He didn't even hint at it. Like, I'm trying to protect you from something bad, but I can't tell you what it is. Like, he assumed she could not handle this burden, but he had to bear it all alone. That's a patriarchal hero complex. No, I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying that's what it is, and it was problematic because
I would say it wasn't solely that. I would say part of it was just the fact that he couldn't bear being able to break that news to her. I felt that was a failing on his.
That's what I said in different words.
He wasn't strong enough to be able to tell her until he reached a point of desperation. Because the only reason he decided to tell her was that he was at the end of his rope, and he couldn't do anything else. Where you said, like, the hero complex part, he wanted to do what he could to save her, but he wasn't strong enough to be able to deliver that outside of being desperate. If he wouldn't have been desperate, I don't think he wouldn't have told her at that point either. If he had a little bit more success, he'd have continued to keep it to himself.
We're saying
and go through.
I'm very much more along those lines. because for me, a patriarchal hero complex would be his viewpoint of looking at her, like you said, of not being able to handle it, where I feel he wasn't able to handle it. Yeah. I think this was his weakness within himself. I also think that, see, me personally, I have a real problem with him not telling her because I can't think of any logical reasons for him not to tell. For me, it's more along the lines of he's not telling her because the story needs him to not tell her, which was a slight ding for me as far as where the writing is concerned. Very well written show all the way, but this was a ding for me because it's like, all right, you're only not telling her so we can just keep moving on with this, and that. Because the first thing he should have done, especially when she now knows and understands the fact that you have powers, you went to the future, you saw me, you did this and this. Here's what happened.
Yeah, once she established that she believed him, that's when you tell her.
You sit down, you tell her, I saw you die, it's on this date. Here's what we're going to do. What are we going to do? How do we plan this out? How do we plan this out? And I really think that it was more along the, I just didn't see it as a patriarchal hero complex. I saw it as a very much a weakness within himself because I just can't handle having this conversation. Which to me
or this pressure.
Yes.
Because if you don't fix it, she dies, and that's on you. That's people can
and he put it on himself.
You know what I mean?
He literally put it on himself. Future him put it on him.
Yeah,
put it on himself.
But like people can't handle that pressure on a good day.
Right. Yeah, on a good day, most people can't handle that pressure. And that's my thing. Like, unless you are in a business or unless you're like a hospital chaplain or a doctor that constantly has to break that level of news, like, hey, you're going to die in 2 months, 3 months, and there's unfortunately very little we can do about it. Like, you're just not accustomed to having that type of conversation.
Yeah. No one is accustomed to having that type of conversation, but you can get accustomed to having a certain level of respect for people that says, if I know something life or death serious about you, I'm going to include you in some way in the decision making regarding that because respect. Why wouldn't I tell you that unless I think you can't handle it?
Well,
it's your life, not mine.
But that's also when we go into the fear part, and that I think he was afraid.
And you know, okay, no one is used to having these life or death conversations unless you are in certain professions or you have certain life experiences. No one has I have superpowers conversations at all. And once you had that conversation,
well, but apparently half of South London is having these I have superpower conversations with they people. Let's switch to Rod. Rod. Oh, wow, the eye roll was high roll, hair toss and everything, Ivo. I'm getting you're not a fan of Rodney.
There is not a person I could have enjoyed less than Rodney.
There you
go. Wow. Okay. Let's go deep. What did you not like about Rodney? I'm Liz. Why don't you start with this one?
No. Ivo, go ahead. I'm gonna let you start because I don't already. Go ahead.
Yeah. Rodney is selfish and short-sighted and dumb and unserious. Basic, and I get it. I totally get it. I understand why he has to be part of the mix. He is part of the social ecosystem, but he is trash as a person. That made me mad.
Wow.
He didn't come on board until he got his boy so toe up that he felt guilty and was like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to be part of the Avengers now. And then didn't even fess up as to why. He just showed up like, yeah, I'm willing to help.
Wow. I gotta play devil's advocate for Rodney now. Okay.
Not for Rodney. Save it.
No, because I not okay.
We're
One.
supposed to hate this character together. Like that's why they put him there, so we could all hate him together.
No, but see, I can't hate Rodney. That's why I'm pretty middle on Rodney. I can't hate him one because he was funny. He had a good sense of humor. Two, I empathize with Rodney, even though they didn't do a whole lot with his backstory. I empathize with the fact that you said he's immature and dumb. Yeah, because he really hasn't grown up since he hasn't grown since he was 16. Since he's been on his own since he was 16. So he's very mentally stuck in a very emotionally immature age. And he's at a point where I think and again, this is my assumption because they didn't really show it in the show, which is why another reason why I wish this was 8 episodes and not 6, to really give Andre and Rodney a little bit more backstory as far as what they went through, what led them here to this point. But I think my guess is that he and Spud are selling drugs because they don't have the education enough to do anything much else. He doesn't really seem to have any other prospects outside of this amazing weed that somehow they found their hands on.
He's not even good at selling drugs.
No, he's not. But he's walking up to strangers in broad daylight. Hey, you want a couple bags? You want some weed?
Hey,
like,
you sound really stressed. I got something for you.
I got some food. And I'm like, who? Like, you were walking up to everybody. Like, I'm surprised you sold anything at all because people gonna think you a cop. Like, yeah.
The only reason he sold anything was that 5-minute thing.
Like
5-minute promise.
But I understand, his situation that he hasn't grown up, and that is why he is just where he is mentally. The selfishness. He is so fixed.
Why? We were all 16. You wasn't that selfish when you were 16.
Yeah, but at 16, I wasn't. No. Think about it. I'll compare myself. At 16 years old, I was a young Christian man in a 2-person home. My father made $200K a year. I wasn't kicked out of my white mama's house because she married a racist and had to live on my own and fend for myself with my best friend. I didn't have to deal with that. Now, if I had to deal with that at 16 years old, I'd have been a whole different type of cat. That's fair. I think, and I probably wouldn't have grown up very much maturity-wise either, being in survival mode for that time. And his sole focus is to make enough money so that he can get his sister out of that environment. They haven't explicitly said that, but they're definitely leaning towards him trying to get his sister, being before to get his sister out of there. So I get why.
But that's you adding narrative into the story.
That's me slightly adding narrative. I'm following the breadcrumbs, but yeah. But like,
and I get that, but
So, but I'm in defense of Rodney. I think he's supposed to annoy you.
Yeah.
He's supposed to. Yeah, well done. Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's 27, but he acts like he's 16.
Like he's 16, correct.
Yeah, so he's supposed to annoy you because they couldn't, and they also couldn't have 2 teenage characters really in this. I think with the violence and stuff that they were doing, so you had to have somebody that acts that way, but is not actually that age. And I want to say for anybody that's light skinned, I'm sorry, I don't know why they had to have the most annoying character be the light skinned character.
You know why? You know why?
Okay.
They did a whole hodgepodge of American influences because they wanted us to watch this thing. So they was like, add a little bit of this, add some of that, make him light skinned so they can say he making Drake type decisions out here. And all intentional. My pop culture media nerd and critic says, well done.
Yeah. Yeah. Rodney was not like us, period.
No. Oh, snap. He also didn't get a whole lot, but the person who got less, Andre Simpson. Let's talk about Andre. Jewel, talk to me about Andre.
I liked Andre as a person within the show. I appreciated Andre was, the every black man who went through it, got that check mark, that black mark, that scarlet letter on his name, and would not go away. But he's still fighting and doing the best that he could. Is he a perfect angel? No, he did what he did it with the ATM that we would all do with the ATM. What I never understood, what got me with that was, the company, so to speak, or that corporation following his every move on surveillance when all of London is under surveillance anyway. So him not even understanding and not being smarter with what he did with the ATM.
Correct.
I couldn't understand that at all. But I did like him as a person. I liked him with his son. I liked the struggle that he put into being in his son's life, where you didn't really see any kind of the typical, stereotypical, abandonment, black father, not about the kid, whatever. No, he fought and he stuck and he tried and he just did the best he could do. My biggest problem with Andre is, okay, I don't need the cat who's supposed to be the muscle or the bruiser or the Hulk in this constantly getting his ass whooped and just being portrayed as like time I turn around, you getting laid out. Like, okay, why are you? What is this? But besides that,
the learning curve.
Huh?
The learning curve. That's
the learning curve.
The learning curve.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, look, we always when we talk about fights. Now we always say size don't mean you can fight. Just because you stand don't mean you can fight. Andre clearly couldn't. I mean, he was in prison for a long time, but Andre didn't learn how to fight.
Hands up. Like, once again.
Didn't mean the man learned how to fight in prison. Clearly he didn't, because my man don't know how to fight.
No. I mean, did you grow up around other black boys? You learn how to fight one way or the other.
One way or the other. You're gonna get it together.
You gonna learn something. My man got weaker after he got superpowers. And I'm good with Andre after that. I'm good.
I have one other thing about Andre. I understand he didn't do the crime that got him locked up, but he wasn't going to be the provider his ex wanted to begin with, because once he got some money, he did a whole bunch of needless spending and not paying on them bills. That man went and bought that boy a brand new phone. He went and bought that boy shoes and clothes. He ain't paid nary a bill. I'm like, come on, fam. Like, you told me how stressed you are about money. You're trying to find a job, but when you get your hands on some money, instead of paying, like, you can treat your son to one thing, maybe two things, but it's shopping sprees, and you ain't paying your bills. Come on.
I had to chalk that up to emotional reasoning with Andre.
Yeah.
Liz, say something again. We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Check your mic. While Liz is trying, go ahead, Ivo.
Liz.
Am I gone completely?
There you go. You're back. Okay. Go ahead, Liz.
No, I was saying that's how you get the people to come looking for you. By having all this money and doing all these things and not paying them first. Yeah. That's how you get them to come looking for you. You should know better. And
then you're gonna be mad and like give the boy's phone back. Like, why did you buy the phone? That phone cost you at least a stack in America. It had to be like 800 pounds, if not more. In the UK, like, come on, man, fam, come on. What are we doing here? You say you want the boy. If you can't keep a house over your head and keep the lights on, you can't have the boy anyway. That was the thing that annoyed me with Andre.
Well, those of us who are undereducated, sometimes involved in criminal activities, like, it's not because we're the brightest bulbs on the tree that we out here. I don't think Andre is that smart.
Correct.
He's just not. Like, this is what smart people think about when they get a little lump sum of money. And if Andre was smart, he wouldn't be getting all these situations with people that's got him going to prison and doing all this other dumb stuff. Because like Liz had a whole monologue ready for his friend, so I'm gonna let her take that away. But Andre not that smart.
And I appreciate that. To me, that's a realistic aspect with this show, and it very much applied to Rodney as well. Sometimes people are just stupid, and when they find themselves when you think about Rodney's power, not just really quickly going back to him.
Yeah.
Do you know how many things, if you just sat and gave it some thought, what you could do with that power, and the best you could come up with is a 5-minute selling? Do you know what you could do?
5 minutes or less, it was free.
Like, what? What? I can rob a bank in like Edinburgh and be back in my house 2 minutes later with a full alibi. Hey, I was here all day. What? And the best you can do is a 5-minute delivery? No. And the same thing with Andre. You know what? Sometimes too many people, sadly, people are just stupid. So I'm going to get this, and this is what I'm going to do. So he's just very dumb who can't fight.
No, now granted, robbing, a deal at sale or robbing, I mean, come on, how many barbershops that, were selling in the bag get robbed? Like, because, there's money they can't report stolen.
Right.
I get that adage. That completely makes sense. Just the whole, I mean, the fact the man went in there, what was stupid to me was not even the activity he did, was the fact that he stole the safe. And then he waited how long to even open it to find out it was empty?
And kept it at the spot.
He kept it at the house?
At the spot. Come on. Stupid.
Yeah.
Why not just open it there? You just use your strong hand.
I thought he was just gonna bust it open and take the money and run.
Right.
No, but
I thought he was just gonna rip the door off, put the money in the bag, and be out. No, he took the entire safe.
He took the entire safe. A black man walking down the streets of London with a safe.
Dumb diddly dumb.
A safe.
with CCTV cameras.
Correct. One of the most heavily surveilled cities on the planet. Your black ass is walking around with a safe.
In South London. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Which clearly only has 50 people in it because everyone's running into everybody. And like, this is not.
People are going there directly to purchase their goods.
Correct.
Yes.
Directly.
Yeah, because that happens at every den has those special clientele that come and just it's a shopping experience. Like
there's a whole menu. Why does this cost so much? I was like, this isn't what is going on here.
Well, speaking of that, let's transition that to the lone female version of this team, and in our wonderful nurse, and to Sabrina here. I like Sabrina.
I like Sabrina.
I like her a lot. She's probably the gentlest soul of the five of them. I would say the thing I liked about her the best, though, is when she had to flip that switch.
Mm-hmm.
When she had to get real.
Yeah, she let him know.
When she walked up to Crazy and was like, "You put another hand on my sister, I'm gonna be the one doing 35 years." And Crazy tried not to show, but he was like, "Yeah, Sabrina, okay." He tried not to show. He tried to tough talk out of it, but
he was shook.
You know she wasn't playing.
Mm-mm. I will let the lady speak on Sabrina.
Did Sabrina annoy you too?
I like Sabrina. No, Sabrina
Okay.
didn't annoy me. I like her, but she was not selling the tough aspect as much as maybe y'all feel like she was selling it. Like it was
just in that moment.
Cute.
That one time.
Yeah, just in moments. Just
it
in
was
moments.
too scrappy dude, like the whole time for me. Sabrina, I get it though. She was just too scrappy dude for me. I wanted her to have a little more edge when she did like walk up on people and make threats, I wanted to feel those threats in my chest a little bit more. I didn't. And so when Crazy was, like, oh, bad girl,
Bad girl
Sabrina.
Sabrina. Yeah.
The mockery was real.
Brutal.
The mockery was real. I too mocked Sabrina in that moment because she was like, "If you better listen, if you ever, I will come after you, like Sabrina just came off like that the whole time to me, and I was just like, okay, I get it, but could she be a little more gangster? Can I get a little more thug energy out of Sabrina, just a little?
But
it wasn't her nature.
Yeah.
So, and then she didn't want the powers that she had, and she didn't know when they would work. So, but she also knew, like, she was going to protect her sister, but she also knew who Crazy was.
Right.
So she couldn't say too much without being able to put a whole lot behind it.
Especially with like 4 other dudes right there.
They were all around.
Like she walked up to one boy. She walked up to one boy, was like, "Move."
But she was the protector even before she had the powers,
right.
Which is why I was expecting a little more thug energy, because I appreciate a little chick who got big threats. Like I fully understand this character. It was still too scrappy do for me, and I was just like, y'all could have gave her a little more edge, but that was just me and my native Detroiter wanting her to be just a little more tough. But they
ain't like us from the 313.
I get it. She was just, a little more fragile than I would have liked.
Well, I think there was supposed to be a juxtaposition between her and her sister, because her sister had more of, she's the gangster boo. She's, she's supposed to have more of that edge.
Her sister liked bad boys. Her sister was not tough. Her sister was visibly and incredibly weak.
But her sister tried to put on airs that she was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Because she talked tough, and she talked how she wasn't going to go back to Craig / Crazy and this and that. And then the minute he showed them diamonds, she was like, "Oh, hey, baby."
I was like, girl,
right?
Really? And then when he had to leave, well, where are you going? Sis, you knew what this was.
Right.
You know what this was. Like, what are you doing?
No, she didn't know what this was, because she really does think that her beauty and her sex should be enough to change his mind and to get him away from what he's doing, because he's supposed to focus on her. She really believed that.
That's
she also believed that he was going to put a ring on it, because she said in the first episode when he gets out of jail, he's going to marry me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then when he comes and gets picked up by the shorties in the ride, she's like, "What? You don't have them come to my house and pick you up? What do I look like?"
That's crazy that they actually were his work associates and he wasn't lying though.
Right.
Wow, that was so messed up. I was like, oh, that hurt.
But the picture with his hands on their butts, like, come on.
But see, that's not good.
No, we don't know what type of work that they were associating it, but about this, this one thing I mentioned on the review that I did about the cast. This cast looks amazing. Like, these are some beautiful people. Like, Rodney's probably the least, attractive person on the main cast, and Calvin is not an ugly dude. Like, this cast was extremely well done. Everyone looks amazing. Now, obviously, the wigs and stuff wasn't all perfect, but the cast itself, beautiful people. Just absolutely. That's something I had to point out. Like, everybody looked amazing.
They look like stars. They look like people that you wanted to watch.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sabrina, really quickly. I like Sabrina. I didn't get much from Sabrina either way. I didn't really get much of character or any kind of much anything. Beautiful lady, but as a character, I've found Sabrina to be kind of one note ish, where it's like, oh, okay, you're here.
They didn't give her much outside of protecting her sister. They didn't give her anything.
Not at all. I did appreciate the swerve from the typical storyline where she got in the issue with the hospital and you were waiting for her to get sacked.
Yeah.
And no, they stood up for her and said, no, we know you. We won't put you. I very much appreciate seeing like the white ally, because you know that they're out there. I very much like, all right, cool. We didn't go the same way where she gets let go or kicked out. They said, no, we got your back. That was very cool to see.
Absolutely. Because I thought the same. I thought they were going to let her go, and that was going to be another reason why she's angry, and then another reason why her power manifests in a different way.
Exactly.
And she did an excellent job, I think, portraying the happiness of getting that promotion that she worked so hard for. She looked extremely giddy, extremely excited to get that. That was a fantastic scene that she did there. Let's talk about some of the antagonists. Let's talk about Crazy real quick. Portrayed by rapper Getz. What did y'all think about Crazy?
That was a twist I was not prepared for. It's one I wasn't looking for it, so it caught me off guard. Mm-hmm. Him also being an enhanced individual, I was not ready for that. So I thought that was really well done.
Well done.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You see, I figured he had powers too. I figured he had powers too, because of how much interaction he was end up having with the various characters, and how so much was tied. I was like, because they really had one thing I think this show did great was keeping a lot of the antagonists in the background. It was very protagonist focused, while you knew the bad guys were doing stuff, because with the constant monitoring of the CCTV. And you saw eventually, I think episode 3, we saw the white guy, I forget his name. We finally saw him and talking. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the show opened up with the woman being murdered, trying to escape. So I think they did a really good job keeping things protagonist focused and not antagonist focused. But with everything, with keeping a shadow antagonist, and you're still building up towards a big fight, you had to be showing somebody who was going to be a bad guy, and you had already set up Crazy as this gangster. And we saw him shoot somebody. So to me, that was the okie doke when he shot Tiny. That was the okie doke, where you were supposed to think he didn't have powers at all. Mm-hmm. What was the surprise to me was that his power was the rogue power, that he was siphoning powers. Mm-hmm. That was the surprise to me. I thought he was going to be like a psychic, so like he was reading everybody's thoughts, which is why he was able to like not be at the drug house when Taser and them came for him, or when it was being robbed. I figured he was hearing people's thoughts, so he was able to be a step ahead. But the siphon thing, that was a pleasant surprise.
That's a very good way to hide and to keep him as a shadow antagonist, because you would never really see his powers unless he was around other people with powers. Right. So that was a very good way that they kept that hidden. I didn't see him having powers at all, I'll admit it. Like, that was a total twist to me. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It made sense, though, that his power.
You were able to see it all coming together.
Now, what didn't make sense was Sabrina trying to save him, though.
Their personality somehow. So the fact that he siphons other people's powers just made perfect sense.
Yeah. Manipulator.
Yeah, manipulator. But Sabrina tried to save him. Then that didn't make sense. I would admit, I thought she'd have been like, "Okay, fry him, please." Go like, oh, they're dangerous, Craig. Like, no. I was kind of wanting her to like one time just be like, do the Craig from Friday.
She's a nurse first.
She's a nurse.
So.
She is a nurse. Yeah, that's true. She's a nurse, and she values his life even though she doesn't like him. Okay, let's jump into some cons as we go down. So one con I had that I would love your thoughts on And Liz mentioned it a bit pre-show. I am so sick and tired of the black people get electric powers trope. I am so sick and tired of it. And even though the powers we've talked about with these characters aren't electric, every time they seem to power up, electricity's flickering. There's something electric about the powers. I'm tired. And even in the future scene, Rodney runs around fast and throws a lightning bolt. Like, bro, I am sick of the black people are electric trope. Like,
That's
I'm
why
tired.
we do the electric slide.
So, well, I think that I'd like to not counter, but I guess piggyback off of that. I am sick of it was very clear from the first episode that whatever was happening to these people was medical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, very clear, and I'm annoyed with that. Like, it happened in Black Lightning, it happened in They Clone Tyrone. Well, in They Clone Tyrone, it was in the food, but it was something that could only happen to us. And part of my social work training was working with the Sickle Cell Foundation. So the minute the white woman walked in to take care of Michael's mom, I was like, something's not right. Something's not right. Why is she in charge of this? What does she know of sickle cell? What's going on? So just the notion that everything that happens to us is in plain sight, but our powers aren't and can't be, was frustrating. Like for Black Lightning, it was all happening underground, but everybody knew somehow what was going on. Like all those people were down there. The same for They Clone Tyrone. Same down here. It's happening in plain sight. And that trope is tired to me. I'm done with that. I was glad that they took sickle cell and kind of flipped it on its head, but I'm done with it. Give us our powers another way. I'm done with it. I'm over it.
Okay.
I thought sickle cell was the most annoying part.
Okay. Elaborate.
Because I get that you have to find a way to distribute these powers and only Black people get them. And sickle cell anemia is like, okay, we can do that, but Supacell for sickle cell, I was just like, really, okay. It just, again, this is the fine arts nerd wondering where's the beef, where's the rest? Like, are we being serious here? But pop culture and popular media critic says that was smart. So it's complicated.
What did you think about the sickle cell part there, Jewel?
I don't have a problem with it because, well, not so much of a problem with it. Now that the ladies did bring that up, I absolutely see that point, and I now agree. Yeah, why you could have really put some thought into it and said something to the effect where, okay, we saw how more highly melanated individuals, due to environmental changes and radiation levels with sunlight going up, they're absorbing this and it's mutating. Like, there's a lot that you could do besides that.
There's a lot of there's a lot of medical
that was 10
babble.
seconds off the top of my head. Like, if you really could put some thought, you could really
medical terminology babble you could spit out there.
Absolutely.
To make it. Well, then again, that's another reason why this show should have been 8 episodes instead of 6. Like, that was a lost opportunity. I will say initially I liked the sickle cell aspect because of how prevalent it is within our community.
Sure. It made it very grounded.
It made it very grounded, something that so many of us can relate to. And then also it took a negative and turned it into a positive. So even though they didn't have it, Andre was tested. He didn't have it. His son didn't have it. Parents had it. Everyone that say what? So
their parents had it. So they probably had the sickle cell trait.
Right. It was right. Yeah. But they did. They were clear of everything. They were clear of the trait and everything. Andre made a point when he was talking to his son and saying that they had tested him multiple times and he wasn't even they didn't have any trace of it.
Okay.
But the parents, the previous generation did. So by the time it becomes, by the time it becomes Supacell, it's not showing as sickle cell anymore.
Right.
So as I kept watching, I was like, okay, that's cool. But later on, when the white guy was talking about how the power is activated, and that it's activated during, essentially like the X-Men, it happens, during points of high stress, or sometimes it's just dormant and never activates. But like the X gene, it can activate. Well, if it's activating at a point of high stress, like the examples we've seen, then almost every black person in South London has his powers.
Correct.
Like okay, then they all got powers then. Like, come on.
I remember them saying something about how coming in contact with someone else who has powers, if you
also can activate it. Yes.
Can activate powers.
Sometimes it activates being near people. So it's like, okay, well then, as much as Rodney been running around South London, they all got it. They all, come on. Like, there's no way this mysterious shadowy company or government entity would be able to control that with as many people who got activated with Rodney just running around town 5 minutes or less.
And why only South London? People got sickle cell over here too. What's up?
Ratman's from South London. It's a South London thing. Michael Tosin Cole's from South London. They just wanted to do South London, I guess.
That's funding.
But there was no corresponding global anything. Like, you could have gave me a news broadcast in the background on somebody's TV, talk about how black people all over the world, or something on the internet, just black people all over the world just got these yellow eyes, something. Don't nobody got sickle cell with black people in South London.
Yeah, you could have had a character looking at like a website, whatever, a news page, and you just see
anything.
And they did when Dion is doing the research, she's seen the videos of other people, but it's still only in South London.
South London. Yeah.
It's just South London people.
I mean,
so maybe it's the sickle cell in the South London water. But
they also, because they had the facility where Michael's mom was being treated.
Correct.
So it may have only been in South London because that was their treatment radius.
Right.
Okay.
Or their experimental thing.
Experimental,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why it could be confined is that. But again, to the point of, if it's activated because you're near somebody, there's a whole lot more supers walking around than they know about. Because that was crazy.
Which it gives you some potential for future seasons. Keeps that door open.
Which is hopeful. I'm hopeful for that. Last thing. Did we see?
I gotta give you my con.
Well, last con that I'm gonna pull out before you give me any of your cons.
Okay.
As much as I enjoyed this show and it's great and it's fresh in so many ways, a lot of points it felt that I was watching familiar things at the same time. So like there were some very Marvel moments. There were some very heroes moments. And I was like, this is cool. I was like, I've seen this before. And Jewel is nodding in a sense, so I'm not the only one that had that feeling. Speak on that, Jewel.
That was my exact problem. It was the superhero last battle trope of everyone coming onto the stage at the finale of the high school play. Everything's happening right here. And now you have this grounded show with these grounded people and these grounded abilities. Sabrina gets thrown into a brick wall and everything falls, and now she stands back. It's like, okay, suddenly, just because you have powers and you do this, and this, nigh invulnerability is one of them, except for Andre the Powerhouse. And just everything's happening here now. But it's just like, okay. And it went from being in this location, this locale where, okay, we all keep running into each other, but it still felt like a lived in, working, breathing environment, to an obvious stage where no one's around and everyone's here and this, it was just like, okay, it became the CW like that. Like, okay.
Mm.
Yep.
That was my biggest con, was that finale. Like, okay, here it
Sabrina's levitation.
Exactly.
Somebody could have came with some more money because the special effects on Sabrina just
not good.
I didn't understand how, especially I get Taser as a kid. I understood that, but even as a kid and a gang member, if I can figure out I can turn invisible, I ain't telling the world, let alone doing it in broad daylight in front of people. Like, fam, how you gonna have an advantage if you showing everybody?
You got a crew. You are definitely telling your crew that you can turn invisible. I had to really think about it and be honest.
No. His crew. It wasn't his. The crew I got. The friends I understood. Tuesday and them I understood. Except for Tuesday was stupid, but outside, I would have told other cats to say Tuesday. But showing Tiny and showing the big dude, like those I would have told. But doing it just in front of like all these people, like that gang fight, like I disappear and I'm out. I'm not sticking around to not kill Chucky for him to know I can turn invisible, so we can tell all of the Sixers that I can turn invisible. Like, what sense does that make? If you're gonna do that to murk somebody, one, get the job done.
Correct.
And two, like, everybody's done seen it.
If I can turn invisible on Tuesday, I'm waking up Wednesday morning and all my problems are solved. Because Tuesday night, no one's gonna know what happened. Everybody's gonna wake up dead. Like, I'm not gonna do it like you said in the middle or in front of it. Like, no, it would just. No one would know a thing. Just
dang, I'm thinking Tuesday night you finna hack into the student loan people or something. Like, I'm thinking you finna do some other stuff.
That's Wednesday night.
I'm just like, I'm talking about
Wednesday night, Liz.
No, I'm talking about from Taser's standpoint and his situation with the gang and all that. Like, okay. By the end of the week, suddenly we don't have any more problems.
And he was talking big, like, we're going to take over North and South and West and all that.
You all are not prepared for that.
No.
You're not going to do that. You're not going to be doing that, baby.
First of all, sitting there quoting Puffy and Biggie, money, power, respect. Like, come on, it came out before you were born.
That was whack.
Yeah, that was
especially with the accent. It was money,
power, respect, brother. That did not sound right.
Stop it.
It didn't sound right.
First of all, you talking all these big this, I'm going to do this and that. Yo, invisibility is one of the most overrated. But yo, you have to worry about traffic. You have to worry about getting run into, walked into. You have bugs flying into you. Like, nothing can see you. Like, you are literally head on a swivel every single second you're using your power because no one can see you. So you need to calm down with all this. His boys, I get it. They would know. No one else would know it. I wouldn't even tell my boys till it was all over.
Right.
Like, here's what happened.
He especially should have had some get back on them for leaving him the way that they did.
Oh, listen.
I did not think that was realistic either. How it was just, well, I understand.
What was that?
I don't understand.
They showed that they had no balls. That's what the problem was.
Right.
Because they bumped out.
They did. Oh, sorry, we left you. We just got scared. Why are you in the game then? What are you doing?
You about to be real scared.
And
me and Max bicycle gang though, so I don't know. Maybe the rules are different.
Boys. Oh my God, my 12-year-old was like they are on scooters. What's going on here?
I copped that to a London thing. I'm like, okay.
It is a London thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they are teenagers. Like, I mean, even though the really big one, he looked 25. They are all teenagers. Tiny was the only one that looked like a teenager. The rest of them, I'm like, these are grown men. Like,
it was giving 21 Jump Street for real.
I was thinking class act, but yeah.
The first thing I thought, the first line that hit me was, "Nigga, you look 30." Like, I'm sorry.
No, that was exactly what I thought. I'm like, come on, man. I'm supposed to believe you're 16 years old.
On a bike. Like, okay.
That was, yeah. Wow. Okay. So so I hit your con.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was by far.
Okay. Ivo, did you have any cons that you wanted to share? Additional cons, I should say.
We discussed all of the major ones. We really didn't get into the cons surrounding Dion like I would like, but I am out of time. Personally, I have to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay. Liz, any last cons you wanted to share?
No, I just wish that it had stayed it stayed the course. It did really well. I don't want it to sound like I'm just dismissing everything that we've said, but I got really frustrated when it started to go the way of Black Lightning.
Mm.
I was also
like the end, like that ending scene irritated me.
Completely.
Yeah, but I was also frustrated with Black Lightning when it went the way of Black Lightning. So
Understandable.
It always does.
Right. So that's that. But all in all, still a pretty solid show. I'm still excited for season 2. Absolutely.
Yes. So for those watching, thank you so much for joining us. We had a great time talking about this. If you haven't seen Supacell, we encourage you to watch it, because if you want a season 2 like we do, the more you watch it, the more you rate it positively, the higher the probability of it getting the season 2. Because unfortunately, season 2 has not been greenlit. So hopefully Ratman and the rest of his writing staff and people are able to get this amazing cast.
It deserves it.
A deserved season 2. Absolutely. I am your host, RockinMrMagic. He is Jewel Spears. She is Ivo Jackson. She is Liz Gilliam. This has been another review and discussion on Jeek Nation Live on Twitch. Until next time, love, peace, and hair grease. We out.